Eric, just how's Devo Davis? How's he progressing so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Devo's done a good job of kind of understanding the concepts of what we're trying to do. The one thing with Devo is we're trying to have him learn the 1, 2, and even some 3 at times. So learning all the plays at 3 different positions is not easy as you transition from a high school senior to a freshman at the college level. But he's a guy that when the shot clock breaks down, can kind of create and go get his own shot.
Thanks.
Still working, we're some areas that we're still trying to work with him on is, continue to improve as a shooter and continuing to understanding the value of taking care of the basketball.
Thank you.
Curtis?
Hey, Coach, one of the things that stands out about that non-conference schedule again this year is you've got a lot of those low to mid-major programs that either won their league last year or they're supposed to be in the mix for that this season. Could you just talk about that strategy a little bit in terms of how it can impact your strength of schedule and then prepare you guys for SEC play?
Yeah, I think the first thing really, Curtis, with the schedule, and Coach Ruda, spent a lot of time. I mean, we had so many different scenarios that kind of played out, some out of our control, obviously. But he's done a good job in the 5 years that I've been with Ruda, where he's kind of identified teams that he thinks can finish in the top 2 in their league. And then obviously that helps down the road. But I think the first thing as we met as a staff was, how do we limit our travel? Number one. How do we play, home games with the pandemic? And then, how do we avoid getting on planes as much as possible and limit our travel and so on and so forth. So a lot of different factors went into the scheduling, but not to get too far off track, Curtis, basically, yes, we did try to schedule quality opponents that could win their particular league that they play in.
Bob?
Eric, just how do you feel about the schedule overall, the non-conference and the conference? And with OU, I mean, it makes sense not to play them in Tulsa, obviously, right now. Does that series get pushed back a year, or what's kind of the status of that series?
Yeah, I mean, the plan is that the series will just, basically, we skipped this year, because it was all done for obviously to try to get a large fan base, both, Oklahoma and Arkansas. And so didn't really make as much sense. But, as far as the SEC schedule goes, you pretty much predict how it's, there was no surprises or anything like that. I think it's, it is what it is. I don't think anybody really has a distinct advantage or a disadvantage. I think that, it's they roll it out and you go play the games. And then with the non-conference, I mean, the biggest thing, to ask how we or I feel about it, it really doesn't matter until we find out how many of these games we play. That's the biggest key is you see football games getting canceled and, we just want to try to get as much competition game-wise as we possibly can for our guys.
And then Blue Ribbon picked you guys. This is all preseason, so, it's on paper. But Blue Ribbon picked y'all eighth in the SEC. That wasn't my doing. I wrote the preview. And then
I talked to you for an hour for Blue Ribbon, and we got an 8th.
I don't think they were rating the story. I think the story's a 10, a number 1. And then Ken Palm's got you 7th, 54th nationally. And then the SEC poll is going to come out. I put you guys a little higher. I won't divulge that. But just how do you feel about that? Because obviously when Isaiah was coming back, you guys were in everybody's top 25. But, life's different without Isaiah, obviously.
Yeah, no, I mean, we are a different team than where we were, when Isaiah was on the roster. And from a national, respect standpoint, probably, not a whole lot right now. So we have a lot to prove. And, I think, obviously the amount of scoring that Isaiah and Mason had for us, that's gone. And, we have some young pieces and we need to stay or get healthy as well.
But do you feel like nobody knows this team better than you do? Do you feel like maybe people are sleeping on Arkansas a little bit?
I don't know. I think like we're in the lab every day trying to get better, and we're trying to find out who we are. And, I don't feel like myself or the coaching staff dictates roles or style of play. I think that, through this amount of time together, the guys kind of identify their own roles and they identify the style of play based on what suits, the personnel we have. And so, I don't really know because there's a lot of unknowns with our team. I brought up, lateral quickness defensively is an area that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Who's our go-to player late in games? The last 4 years, our teams have had the fewest amount of turnovers in the league that we played in. Can we value the ball and get a shot on goal and not turn the thing over? And, how selfish or unselfish will we play with one another? I think all those things are, unknowns for ourselves and for our team and for the people outside our building as well.
And one more, Hunter put out a thing the other day saying 4,000 or approximately 4,000 would be the attendance. Not really a surprise. Just wondering how you felt about that. And then I got some others, but I'll turn it back over to Mike if that's cool.
Yeah, that's about 3,500 more than we had when we played in the D League. So, look, when you go out and play, you kind of have like competition goggles on, or you're so focused on what's going on that you really shouldn't get caught up in the crowd. Although when I'm doing this, I guess you could say I get a little pumped up and enthusiastic with the crowd. But that number's probably about what we all thought it would be. And so, we're just happy to play. That's the big thing, is how do we go play? Hutch, you're up next.
I didn't hear Mike. I got a couple of scheduling questions for you. I noticed that all of the non-conference opponents, they're from like bordering states, not too far away. Was that kind of by design?
Yeah, not by design, kind of, but for sure. We wanted people that could get here without getting on airplanes, if need be. So that was a 1,000% Hutch. That was something that Coach Ruda and I and administration had talked about for sure.
And then also y'all, you mentioned how like football games have been getting canceled. Teams are like adding games at various points during the season. Do you have teams like on standby in case a game falls through because of COVID?
We haven't put any phone calls out or whatever, but just like every AD's in his top drawer, he's got a list of coaching candidates. We have a list in our top drawer, a list of, programs that we would call if in fact need be at the last minute for sure. Not in my drawer, but in Coach Ruda's drawer.
Scotty?
Hey, Coach, what intrigues you most about the two road games at Tulsa and Oklahoma State, and how are those two games going to challenge your guys?
Yeah, I think one, Scotty, it's good that we have two road games, and I like the fact that we can bus to those games. Tulsa had an incredibly great year last year. They're well coached. They're tough. And then obviously Oklahoma State, has one of the premier players in the country in Cade Cunningham and a potential lottery pick and some other really good pieces around him. So, I think both those games are really, really good games. Obviously, the Big 12, anytime you get an opportunity to play a Big 12 team is good. And then, like I said, Tulsa last year was one of the surprise teams in the entire country.
Last one for you. Just how's Jalen Williams coming along? What are some of the traits of his that you like?
Jalen's done really, really done a fabulous job. He talks a lot. He's bought into the system with 2 feet. He plays really, really hard. He's in this gym working on his game every single day. Maybe has been our most consistent 5-man thus far. Certainly our most consistent 5-man of his durability of being on the floor every day. He can shoot the 3. He can put the ball on the deck. He's a good passer. He's a willing passer. He rebounds his area. From a 3-point shooting perspective, we want him to continue to get his percentages up. But when he has a ball at the 3-point range, we feel like he can make a 3. We just want to continue to see some improvement on his percentage from 3. But Jalen's done a really, really good job for us.
Kyle, you got anything?
Hey, yeah, Coach. In the past you've talked so much praising the atmosphere in North Little Rock. Are you disappointed not to be playing there this season, and you kind of hope to get back there in the future?
Yeah, we definitely want to get back to to North Little Rock, and the first thing is, the players, the coaching staff, we love playing in that environment. It was one of the coolest. I did not know last year going in. I heard what the atmosphere would be like, but the atmosphere was just incredibly insane in a positive way. I thought it was, it's not a road game, obviously, but it gets us out of our own building. I think that's good for a team to experience a semi-neutral site as far as you're not sleeping in your own bed. And certainly to be able to reach another part of the state's really valuable. Just with the uncertainty of the pandemic and stuff, there's a lot of challenging things putting together, the schedule and we'll be back there for sure. It's just this year's, unique and different.
Jason?
Hey, Coach, I just wonder how you like the mix of, your schedule and conference play and just the overall knowing that you're set up for conference play once it gets here at the end of December.
Yeah, no, I think the conference schedule is, I don't really, know how you would, say if you love it or don't like to me, you just kind of know you're playing X amount of SEC games and you're going to have, your 9 home and your roads and it is what it is. And so every game in the conference is challenging for everybody, whether doesn't matter if it's football, it doesn't matter if it's baseball, it doesn't matter if it's our soccer, every game is challenging in this league. So, we're just glad we're getting a non-conference to try to continue to figure out our identity prior to getting into conference play.
Nikki?
Coach, what about Kamani Johnson, caught your eye when he was in the transfer portal, and when is he going to be able to get here to start, practicing with the guys?
Mike, am I allowed to talk about him? Okay. So, I think the first thing, Nikki, is, he's a high volume free throw attempt player, which is obviously something, if you look at the 5 years that, we've had a system in place that getting to the foul line is really, really important. He's one of the best in the country at that. Anytime you can get a all-league player after his sophomore year. He's a proven player, good rebounder, active, plays really hard. And maybe the most important thing is, because I have such great respect for Coach Walker, is knowing that he comes from an environment that he's been coached. Coach Walker's teams play really, really hard, and they're aggressive and tough-minded. So I think that added, to the excitement level as well, knowing that he played for Coach Walker. And then he'll be here, when we start second semester.
Dorian, you have a question? Hayden? Okay, Dorian, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I'm good. I don't know if Hayden has anything.
Yeah, Coach, just a quick one. I was just wondering about Devo Davis, just his adaptation, how he's been, how he's adjusted on the fly, and just a local guy, obviously riding the road from Little Rock here in Jacksonville, how Devo's doing.
Yeah, Devo's, as I told Nate, Devo's done a really good job of he's playing 3 different positions for us, the 1, 2, and maybe a little bit at the 3. Really good dribble driver, really good creating his own shot. We want to continue to work on his player development, becoming a more consistent 3-point shooter, and continuing to understand that we want to get a shot on goal, and we have to value the basketball and just tighten up any turnover type situations.
Randy, saw you came in late. You got a question for Coach? All right, Hutch, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, I think last time we talked, you mentioned y'all were going to do a COVID Cup. Has that started, and how do the teams kind of split up for that? And is the red-white game part of that COVID Cup series?
It is, Hutch. Today we'll have we'll have some refs today, and we'll get some competition in today to be a part of this COVID Cup. Obviously the red and white, and then we'll probably have another game or 2 internally, between closed doors, where we continue to have competition. But we do have a running scoreboard right now of what each player is individually, what their record is in any competition that we do in practice. So we've never really done that, but when you walk into our building, there's a scoreboard with each player's name and their record on our live segments.
Curtis?
Hey, Coach, during fall camp, Coach Pittman talked a lot about cross-training his guys at different positions and kind of spreading out and giving equal reps to everyone, just because everything's so uncertain with COVID. Is that something that you guys are doing as well as a staff?
I mean, I think, I love that term that Coach Pittman used. I mean, we've kind of used the positionless term, and we tell our team every day, because, we have a first team, a second team, and then we have a third team that's kind of a mismatch of guys playing different positions and so on and so forth. And I tell guys all the time that, if you want extra, minutes, so to speak, in a game, your ability to play multiple positions and understand the sets, both offensively and defensively, and the schemes that we have, allow you more of an opportunity to get minutes. So, yeah, I do think it's really, really important that players try to learn more than one spot. Some guys, Justin Smith is playing 4 positions for us, and he knows all 4 positions. Other guys, I won't, point any one. Some guys are struggling to know one position. And a lot of guys have 2 positions down, and but you play a team sport, and you've got to know your position for sure. But if I call a play and you don't even know a play is being run for you, and you go to the wrong spot, like, I'm not going to put you in a game. It's pretty simple. And so there's a guy or 2 that still has to do a better job of understanding our plays. And if you don't know plays, and it doesn't matter what sport you play. I mean, if you can't execute a squeeze bunt, you're not going to play baseball. And if you don't understand, the spacing in our transition early offense, then you're not going to get in the game.
Randy, I don't know if you heard me earlier, but you have a question? Hold on, you're muted, Randy.
Still on mute. Now you're good.
All right, let's roll. I heard you talk about the 3 teams. You've got them broken into. Have you, Eric, on the other hand, established any kind of rotation yet?
Wow, Randy, I don't know if I've heard anyone call me Eric in a long time.
Coach. I'm older than you.
I know. You can call me whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay, go. You threw me off by calling me by my first name. Shoot again, Randy. I'll get my bearings straight. One more time.
Coach Musselman, you talked about having your players broken up into 3 different teams. Have you been able to establish, though, any kind of rotation?
Yeah, that's a good question, Randy. I think it's still evolving. That's one of the terms we keep using is we're in the lab. We're still experimenting with different things. And I do think that there's been a solid 7 that have kind of formed who that group is. And then who 8, 9, 10, and so on. I'm not really sure about that, Randy, but I do feel really confident, at least in my mind, who that 7 is right now, based on playing unselfish, based on understanding, the schemes. I feel good about 7, but we got to keep working, and that's why you have more time. I think we're a little under 3 weeks away right now, and that's still a significant amount of time for us to continue to get better and improve. And quite frankly, we're probably going to be a team, and you want your team to constantly evolve. You want your team to get better in December than it was in November, and better in January, and so on and so forth. And certainly with younger players, I think that's definitely going to be the case, because it is anywhere in the country.
Okay, Bob.
Eric, I think I call you Eric all the time, but anyway, the board with the guys who are winning the most when they're in the team situations, who's leading those spots?
As soon as I brought that board up, I knew somebody was going to try to put a thumbnail on I'd rather not talk about that now, Bob, just because we got, we have so many more days to go. And I tell the team all the time is like, don't worry about if you're on red or on the white team right now, because it's, like we change teams up every day, because I'm trying to figure out combinations that work as well. So I guess maybe if we catch each other on a good day, I'll divulge the winning board.
And maybe we can revisit that before the season starts. And obviously, there's all these companies trying to come up with vaccines. And you hope, as we get into winter, they'll figure it out. How hopeful are you that there'll be a vaccine here in the near future, and how could that, positively impact the season?
Wow, that's way over my pay grade. That's way over my IQ. Way over my IQ. I just know that my wife tells me every day, and not that anybody wants to hear it, but Danielle, I don't think she has that much more. I mean, she's way smarter, but I don't think she's any more medically smarter than I am. But, she says it all the time, like it could be another year. So all we can do is worry about the next day and, take care of today, wake up, deal with tomorrow. Because I don't think any of us know, we were at lunch today in Ruta. I don't know where he got it from, but he said as soon as they come up with a vaccine, then we got to wait another 6 months for it to take effect. Again, I don't know where Ruta getting it. I don't know where Danielle's getting it, but according to my world, anywhere from 6 to a year. And I think that's a pretty, just a guess, really.
And then one more, with football, if they lose, 8, 10 guys, whatever, contact tracing, it's not good, but they can deal with it. If you're a basketball team, you lose, you know, 8 or 10 guys, you're wiped out for a game. Kind of how do you approach that, or how do you deal with that?
Well, I can tell you this, Mike, just put me on mute if I can't. We will have enough players every single night to play. And we'll have enough coaches because we've had enough people that have had it, you know, where, you know, we're going to be able to play from our end. I'm not saying I will because I still haven't had it, but we'll be able to play without me for sure. And the few guys that haven't had it, you know, we'll still be able to play. So we have plenty of guys where we're not concerned about Arkansas having a game, I guess, unless there was the few people that, you know, I guess if there was ever a worst case, the few people that haven't had it, if they got it at the same time, I don't know what would, you know, that's again way over my head and you know.
Okay, I'll just call you doctor from now on. Dr. Eric.
Anybody have a final question for Coach? All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.